coming up.
We find that Shorthorns do really well for us on the maternal side, but when they hit the rail or hit the plate, it's a great eating experience.
My whole thing in the cattle business is trying to improve the Shorthorn breed.
For 150 years, America's first beef breed, Shorthorn, has been the definition of maternal excellence. Next on The American Rancher. Hello, I'm Pam Minnick, and welcome to The American Rancher. From the moment America's first beef breed landed on U.S. soil in 1783, it changed the cattle industry forever. With a unique combination of fertility, efficiency, and carcass quality, Shorthorns have always been the popular choice for raising high-quality beef. Through it all, Shorthorns have been known for maternal excellence. Simply put, the greatness of the Shorthorn cow has been the foundation of the breed's success. This year, the American Shorthorn Association celebrates a milestone achievement of its 150th anniversary.
In many ways, the Shorthorn story is America's story. Let's go back to the year 1783. That's when the Revolutionary War ended and the first Shorthorn cattle were imported to our shores. Of course, Shorthorns originated in England. Around the year 1600, the breed developed in the Tees River Valley. The cattle were multi-purpose, providing milk, meat, and draft for farming. When they came to America, Shorthorns were ideal for westward expansion. With pastures aplenty, farmers imported Shorthorns from Great Britain. They were bred to Longhorns, and shazam! The quality of beef improved overnight. To preserve pedigrees, the first Shorthorn herd book was established in England in 1822, called the Coates Herd Book. In 1846, the first American Shorthorn herd book was published. Then, in 1872, cattle raisers gathered in Indianapolis and formed the American Shorthorn Association, creating the nation's first beef breed association. Today, the association is headquartered in Kansas City, and Shorthorn cattle still produce some of the best beef in the business. Through it all, Shorthorns have been known for their gentle nature. Their docility makes them a family-friendly breed, ideal for building a better future for families, communities, and country.
Next, we visit Little Cedar Cattle Company, where a family has found success with the breed's legendary docility and mothering ability.
This world's all about what are you gonna be known for when you're gone. We're all gonna be here only so long. And my whole thing in the cattle business is trying to improve the Shorthorn breed. With Julie's help, we've really made Little Cedar a name that people know.
Steve and I met in 1999 and joined forces right then, and I knew that Shorthorns were going to be a part of my life. You know, when I first realized Shorthorn truly was America's first on the North American continent, then it was the first breed association formed in 1872. That says a lot.
You know, really, when you think about it, Longhorn cattle were the only thing that we ever had in the United States. When they brought these Shorthorn cattle in, they were the improvers. They were the ones that were going to cross with the Longhorns and make these cattle that are going to be thicker, have more meat in them, and be cattle that are going to milk and have a lot of attributes. And that's why when you think about Shorthorns in the 40s and 50s and 60s, they were the dominant breed. And when you think of 150 years of being in Shorthorn cattle, you think about all these people that were in the Shorthorn breed. Massey Ferguson, all these names like the R&R Railroad, and all these big corporations that had Shorthorn cattle. That's really something.
The history of the breed is so important because you really can't know where you're going until you know where you've been. It's phenomenal to me that so much was written about this breed of cattle, and it's still there for us to know, and so much of the information is totally relevant. But those old records, the pedigree, connects One generation from now to the next, to the next, to the next, all the way back to those first cattle that came over here and literally transformed a country. You know, they couldn't have built America without livestock, and these livestock came and they did a job, and 150 years later, they're still here doing it for us. The Shorthorn breed really does have a place in the beef industry, not only for its maternal ability, but meat quality and tenderness. You know, she was brought to this country because she could milk, because she could be a beef animal, and because she could be a work animal, and she was. It has a future because of its illustrious past.
I really think the reason why they've survived as long as they have is because us as breeders have nurtured the breed. We've selected the good cattle to continue the process of breeding good Shorthorn cattle. So maybe this 150th year anniversary, maybe it'll get us some new breeders. That's my dream, is to get more people in the Shorthorn breed. You know, the cattle business is all about the people, and honestly, my granddaughters mean the world to me, and having them go to the first Junior Nationals this year, I was such a proud papa. Everything we do here at Little Cedar Cattle Company is for them. And I tell them all the time, this isn't my place, it's your place. And I'm making sure that each one has their own cows and they know the cattle front to back as far as pedigree, as far as what we've got them bred to. I ask them on breeding decisions. I am the most proud papa in America to have my 4 granddaughters.
I've certainly learned a lot about Shorthorns, and I've learned a lot about Shorthorn people. The people are as resilient and as committed as we are, and that's what's made this breed great.
I just really love Shorthorn cattle. You're still gonna see a roan somewhere. Way after all of us, there's still gonna be a Shorthorn cow in the pastures.
After the break,
Shorthorns are competitive in all areas, and I think that's the thing that's so unique about Shorthorns.
the American Rancher continues the celebration of 150 years of the Shorthorn breed. After this, stay with us. Welcome back to the American Rancher. Today we're sharing the story of the Shorthorn breed in America. There's no form of food production more sustainable than cattle, and few breeds represent sustainability like Shorthorn. Next, we visit Leveldale Farms of Illinois, where for more than a century, the family has found success with the breed's legendary docility and mothering ability.
Leveldale Farms started in 1852 with my grandfather's grandfather moving out from Ohio. People sometimes ask me, is that a family name? And I say, no, it depicts the original farm ground, which was level or flat. That's where they started farming and raising livestock. Both my grandfather and my father were very active in the Shorthorn Association. They were both selected builders of the breed. They were both presidents. They just lived it. My grandfather's brother and my grandfather really developed the promotion of the Shorthorns and started exhibiting them in the 1920s. They exhibited over 8 months of a year, and that was the promotion in that period of time, how people got to know your herd, to go out and see it. My grandfather really started developing the Shorthorn breed in a big way and was the first invited to Perth, Scotland, to judge the big Shorthorn show in the 1940s. And they imported a great deal of cattle from Scotland into the United States. My father, from his activities facilitating the development further of an ag school in England, got to be well known by many families that had been active in the Shorthorn breed in Scotland and northern England when it was really started. In fact, about 10 years ago, when I was over there with my girls at the World Shorthorn Conference, met some of these same family descendants immediately running into their house and bringing out letters that their father and grandfather had exchanged with mine because they knew each other and trusted one another in their integrity in raising cattle. My mother helped develop the Lassies. It was a women's oriented program and got women more involved with the cattle business. And later were able to get scholarships and help with further education and things too over time. The Shorthorn breed and the people they got to know across the United States and other parts of the world kept enhancing their lives. They offered many qualities. They liked functional cattle that required very low maintenance. They had good disposition. As a farmer or rancher, you didn't tend to get injured dealing with them, and they produced whatever you needed. Going forward, the Shorthorn breed, I really think that with the data we're gathering today and the more emphasis that more breeders have, I think it can re-escalate into a leading breed, both from a standpoint of crossbreeding, but also as an independent breed in the future.
Lehman Stock Farms of Illinois is another beef operation that defines sustainability through stockmanship and legacy.
So the American Shorthorn Association has been very important to our family for many generations. My father-in-law was builder of the breed, my husband was builder of the breed, my mother-in-law was Lassie of the Year. It's just something that we have lived and breathed for many, many years, and I'm proud to have the opportunity to be a part of an organization like that that supports its members. So Scott, my husband's ancestors came here in the late 1800s, and there have been now 6 generations of Lehmans here on this farm, my grandkids being the 6th. They had their first registered Shorthorn in 1901, and there have been Shorthorns in these permanent pastures ever since 1901. My maiden name is Jordan, and so I am a cousin to the Wackaroo Jordans, to Barry and my Uncle Carl, and they kind of got us started in the Shorthorn breed as far as my siblings and I, but there's a history that my parents have as well. My dad showed Shorthorns. There's a photo behind me of him in 1955 when he won the Indiana State Fair with a Shorthorn steer. And there's also a photo back there of my grandfather with some Shorthorns. Yeah, a lot of history. Scott and I met because we were both out on the road showing Shorthorns. We served on the Junior National Board together. And our kids just kind of never had a choice. They were growing up in the barn, and they've shown all over as well. They've grown up going to the shows and being in the barn and working with us on a daily basis. You know, they've learned from a very young age the work, the responsibility that comes with it, as well as the reward and just, you know, the pride of walking out through the pasture and seeing what you've done. And so they have shown. Actually, Cody's first junior national, he was 4 years old. It was before they had an age limit. And so he showed at 4 years old, and all 3 of them have showed their whole lives. I think the animal that really put the Lehmans on the maps, so to say, with the Shorthorns was in 1917, and that was a bull that they purchased called Ceremonious Sultan. He was a 5-time international grand champion and like a 44-time state fair champion. Shorthorns are competitive in all areas, and I think that's the thing that's so unique about Shorthorns, that we can be a show breed, we can be a market breed. It's what your focus is. I think that's what has kept Shorthorns going strong all these years. I just think that it's something we should be really proud of, that we have stood the test of time, that we're still here. We served the purpose years ago, generations ago, and we're still serving the purpose for cattlemen today.
Up next.
One of the big reasons that Shorthorns have been around so long and been able to, you know, be here and celebrate our 150th anniversary is just the strength of the breed and the people that are involved in our breed.
The story of 150 years of the Shorthorn breed in America continues right after this here on The American Rancher. Welcome back to The American Rancher. As we celebrate the breed's 150th anniversary in America, there's no question American cattle producers prefer Shorthorn genetics in a crossbreeding system. They are an optimal cross for any British-based cow herd. They provide carcass quality, docility, and maternal excellence. That's evident at Wackaroo Farms, where Shorthorns have led the way for generations.
My family has been involved in different aspects of the Shorthorn Association for our whole history. When my dad and grandfather took over Walkaroo, the cow herd was an important part to get through the Depression in the 30s. We utilized cows as a way to generate some sort of sellable product off of lands that couldn't be row cropped. You know, the cow was used to generate something out of a lower resource that the farm owned.
It was natural to utilize Shorthorns at that time, but the Shorthorn thing just continued. Over the years, we had added other breeds, Hereford cows, Angus cows, but really, Shorthorns did the most things right. And they were able to make use of the refuges that we had available here. So Shorthorns really rose to the top just through trial and error. The Shorthorn Association, at that time in history, allowed the appendix cattle to become registered in the regular herd book at 15/16. That gave us the ability to be transparent in everything that was happening at that time. And that, of course, was right as a lot of cattle type was changing and a lot of emphasis on performance was beginning. So then we started publishing a sire summary, and the early data was collected from people that had records. That was turned into the association, and then eventually became a sire summary and now today's current EPD program. The evolution of those things allowed the Shorthorn breed to be relevant to the beef industry.
You know, it's been said that the Shorthorn breed pulled the wagon west across the United States, and then they were used to provide milk and cheese and butter, and now beef. To have an animal that could do all three of those things is pretty unique, but it's also pretty unique what we're able to do in today's market as well. You know, it makes you feel proud to be part of something that's been around and stood the test of time. But to tie into celebrating 150th anniversary of the American Shorthorn Association, it's just hard to wrap your mind around how a group of people have stayed together, making progress and challenging each other to make better cattle and make them fit into a ever-changing beef industry. You know, the next few years and foreseeable future, there's going to be more change. We're going to have to step up our game, and we're ready to. And to celebrate what we've done in the past is going to help challenge us for the future.
From the start, cattle producers across the nation have chosen Shorthorn. Each farm and ranch has its own reason for choosing the breed, but it's ultimately about raising great cows that produce heavy calves, rebreed every year, and are built to last. We now take you across the country to hear from people who've reaped the rewards of Shorthorns for generations.
What I love and cherish about Shorthorns is the generations, the legacy that we've been involved with, and the passion from our whole family, you know, aunts and uncles, all the way down to grandkids. And I've always enjoyed history, and I've read into a lot of the history of the Shorthorn breed, and obviously our family has been involved with it for a lot of those years. You know, 100 years registering purebred Shorthorns in ourselves, and it's neat that even 50 years before that, this breed was, you know, thriving in the United States, and I think that's really a neat thing to be a part of.
One of the big reasons that Shorthorns have been around so long and been able to, you know, be here and celebrate our 150th anniversary is just the strength of the breed and the people that are involved in our breed.
You know, the cattle are so easily to handle, and I think all that makes a big difference. But I think that's had a lot to do with people buying Shorthorns.
We're kind of finding with the Shorthorns, they really complement a lot of the commercial cows. Guys are using them to go into that 3-breed rotation. We find that Shorthorns do really well for us on the maternal side, but when they hit the rail or hit the plate, it's a great eating experience.
My dad liked them because when we got started, they were so gentle, and he had always used a Shorthorn bull. That's what he told my brother and I. He says, boys, they're gentle, they're easy to handle.
Back when I was a child, it was all Shorthorns. And I think some of that in those generations is coming back. Some of them older generations are passing on that they were raised with Shorthorns, and I think some of these breeds need that cross. They need the more docile cattle and feed efficiency cattle because they can compete with any of those breeds. And milking ability, they're awesome, and of course the disposition.
I think, in the future, hopefully more people are going to see the value of Shorthorns and adding those genetics to their operation, because I feel that we have all the traits that are needed. And so I really think the last few years with some of the research and the projects that the association has been doing, that we positioned ourselves in a good place for the future.
Well, been 150 years for the Shorthorn breed means a lot to a lot of people. I think we're on a rise, and I see it just keep going up as we look to the future.
We hope you've enjoyed our journey with America's first beef breed, but it only marks the beginning of the next 150 years for Shorthorn cattle. If you'd like to order a copy of Shorthorns and the American Beef Industry, a book that celebrates the breed's rich history, visit shorthorn.org. You'll also find information there about breeders, events, sales, and shows. That's all the time we have today. To find out more about us, visit our website, theamericanrancher.com, or connect with us on Facebook. I'm Pam Minnick. For our entire American Rancher team, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.